Here you can see typical AI presentations. Actually, they look great. But if you pause at any of these slides for a second, anyone can tell they smell like AI. Visually appealing, but something doesn't really add up. But why? Let me actually make this simple. On one side, we have powerful AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude. These tools can provide consultant-level arguments and storyline, yet very basic or irrelevant visuals. On the other hand, we have AI presentation tools like Gamma and Beautiful AI. Those have powerful visuals. However, the content, I'm not sure. I would say it can definitely be improved. This is why what we really need is something over here. Powerful visuals while keeping the integrity of our content. And today I will walk you through a workflow that will take you exactly there. Here's the reality of sustainability work. You are a sustainability manager, the expert about nothing and everything. You understand pollution, wastewater management, decarbonization. You make sure every new regulation is understood and communicated to the right stakeholder. You initiate projects, coordinate initiatives, and guess what? Along the way, the most useful assets to you are presentations. This is exactly why today I will walk you through 4 steps workflow to build powerful presentations using AI. Let's go. First, let me show you how to make the most out of this video. I have already prepared a follow-along Notion resource that includes everything you need to literally duplicate this workflow and try it yourself. The link is in the description below, and remember, the best way to learn AI is by doing. Therefore, I encourage you to go and check this resource. Now, let's get started. Our case study today is one that most sustainability professionals can and will relate to. Assuming you are working on a company in the chemical industry, just to give a context, and leadership are increasingly hearing about terms that are new to them. That's new, brand new information. I mean, something like product carbon footprints, scope 3 emissions, supply chain transparency. I mean, have you been there? I guess. But it's not clear what that means in practice for the management, and you are the one to explain it yet with another presentation. Your task is to prepare a clear and structured presentation that explains what product carbon footprint is, why it matters for the business, and what it means to run to get a product carbon footprint, a life cycle assessment. What does that mean, and what does it mean for your company? Now, I want to be clear. We are using this specific example just to give some context, and that will help us basically develop the presentation, but this workflow applies to any sustainability topic that you would like to explain to any stakeholder. Therefore, the goal is always the same: help people understand and get on board on a specific topic. And to do so, we will go through 4 steps: research, structure, design, and the step that every presentation go through, whether you plan it or not: collaboration. Let's get started. Now we have our goal and our case study in hands. Time to go to work. Step 1 is research, and I want to be honest with you. When I say we are sustainability professionals, we are the expert in nothing and everything, I mean it. Especially when it comes to sustainability, the field is huge. You are a sustainability manager doesn't mean that you understand every sustainability topic out there. However, you have the tools and the means to understand it and explain it. However, that takes research. Therefore, to present a topic, most of the time, you are starting from, I won't say zero knowledge, but close to zero. Therefore, to have the confidence to go to a leadership meeting and to explain it and to allow the company to take position or to take action toward a specific topic, that needs some research so you can be confident in what you are presenting. Now, how I actually research topics in sustainability, I already covered that in a full detailed separate video. You can check it out. I highly recommend you go and check it out if you are interested in how to perform research. But for today, since this video is about building the presentation, not the research process itself, I have already done that work for you. I went ahead and collected the most relevant and credible resources to answer our research question or to solve our pain point, how to perform a product carbon footprint or life cycle assessment. From the greenhouse gas protocol, I have collected the corporate greenhouse gas accounting standard, scope 2 guidance, scope 3 guidance, the project carbon footprint guide. And in addition to that, since we are specifically in the chemical industry, the product lifecycle accounting standard from Together for Sustainability. These are not a random Google results that I've got and said that these are the resources. These are the primary standards and frameworks. And this is exactly the point. A good presentation starts with good sources and good research. Now, to see all these resources and to access all these resources, I already have them in the Notion resource I mentioned earlier, and you can find it in the description. Now, I take all these resources and bring them to my favorite tool, NotebookLM. So the workflow here is simple. Upload all your resources, go to the studio, select report, and press on create your own. Now you have to add a prompt. Again, this is where most people rush and lose the value of the entire presentation. The report is only as good as your prompt. Therefore, I have already also written this prompt, and you can find it in the Notion resource, ready to copy and paste. How I write prompts, I have already also done a video separately about it, you can check it out. But I want to show you the structure of what a strong prompt covers here, because understanding why it works is more valuable than copying it clearly. The prompt clearly defines who the audience is, what the report needs to cover, and how the output should be structured, because I already know what questions my stakeholders will ask. I have the feeling I know my stakeholders, I know my company, I know lifecycle assessment in general, what does it take to perform one. Therefore, I have already done my research part. So the research part is the foundation. Therefore, you have to spend most of your time here. This is not an AI doing the thinking. It's not an AI hype and AI hack. It's seriously useful and helpful workflow to help you produce good content in a good presentation using AI. This is me using my experience of how sustainability projects get approved and utilize AI to reach there. And the output of this step is simply a comprehensive, structured report as I asked for. And that would work as the foundation for what follows. The report will feed into step 2. We have our research, we have a solid report. Now, step 2 is structure, and this is where I want to slow down for a second, because this step is not about AI. This step is about you. A good presentation is not just a collection of information, it is a storyline. And that storyline has to answer every single question your stakeholders might have or want to ask before they even ask it. And that's how a good sustainability manager would tackle a presentation. If your stakeholders leave the room confused, that is not an AI problem. That's a structure problem. And no AI tool will solve this problem for you. AI might help, but you have to think fast. So what I did here, before we touch any AI tool, is I sat down, asked myself one question. What does the audience need to understand in order to walk out of the room ready to support my initiative, ready to go for the life cycle assessment? And the answer to that question becomes my slide structure. I take the report from NotebookLM, bring it into ChatGPT, and I paste my prompt. Again, I'm not going to read the prompt line by line. You know where to find it in the Notion resource, but I want to show you the most important parts. First, who is in the room and what they already know. Second would be what this presentation need to achieve, not to teach lifecycle assessment, but to get them into the lifecycle assessment train. And third, the exact storyline I want the presentation to follow, because I already decided this. AI did not decide this for me. This is very important because the content will be taken from the report. Everything below the slide title can be where AI can help you get stuff ready. However, the structure is very important, that you spend your time coming up with the right structure for your audience. Let me show you the slide titles I built into this prompt. And I want you to just listen. Why this matters for our business, what lifecycle assessment is, the lifecycle assessment of a chemical product, what questions lifecycle assessment can answer, what data we would need, who needs to be involved, what it takes to run the fast lifecycle assessment, what success looks like, and closing message with the next steps. Do you notice something? You just understand the entire presentation and where I am going without seeing a single slide. And that's how a good presentation should be structured. And that's exactly where you need to spend your time before you feed AI anything. And the output of this step is a complete presentation outline. Every slide, every bullet point, structured and ready. This is the input for step 3. Therefore, step 1, we have the report. Step 2, we have the full presentation outline. We have our research, we have our structure. Now, step 3, design. And I want to be clear before we jump again to any AI tool. Usually people start with this step. So people start with design and they present. And that's exactly why most AI presentations feel empty. Because design without structure is nothing, honestly. It's just something that looks good. But what we did first is we done the heavy lifting, and now Gamma is just here to execute when it comes to visuals and design. Let's jump into Gamma. In Gamma, I want you to select create new and then paste in text. Choose presentation, select traditional, the normal dimensions of a presentation, and then paste in the full output from step 2, the complete presentation outline. Now, this option here is very important. I want you to select preserve this exact text. This tells Gamma to keep my structure, my titles, my storyline exactly as I built them. Because if you select generate from notes instead, Gamma will rewrite everything and you basically lose what we've done in step 1 and 2. So always preserve the text. From here, Gamma will ask you to choose a theme. You can build a custom one inside of Gamma. However, you can use Gamma for free, by the way, and you can select any, I would select any of these here. Now for images, I mean, to be honest, I would go for corporate. I would definitely go for placeholders. So image placeholders always for corporate, replace them later by photos that your company owns. But since this is a tutorial, I would go with AI generated for this tutorial video. If you do use AI images, you can choose the model, which is, makes sense. Nano Banana is the best. However, watch your credits because it consumes some credits. For this video, I would use the Flux Too Fast and you will see the quality is not that good. And now in seconds, we have our presentation. Clean layout, strong structure, each slide exactly where it should be. The problem is clearly the AI generated photos. However, the best part is everything is editable. You can click everywhere, anywhere, try to change text, remove a picture, change a picture, everything is editable. Or you can simply use Gamma agent to make specific changes. You can, if you don't like result or some kind of visual, you can simply prompt it out. This is a living document, not a static image. We will make it clear in step 4 why this is important to be a dynamic and not static image. Step 4, collaboration. And I want to start with a question some of you might already be thinking about. When we started with NotebookLM and created a report, in the same studio, there was also a button to create presentation. Why didn't we just have this shortcut rather than having a long workflow? Just go to NotebookLM, into the studio and generate a presentation. And honestly, look at this. I generated the presentation, looks great, clean, structured, visually impressive. But here's the problem. Let me export this into PowerPoint and let's have a look. This is not a PowerPoint file. This is picture inside of PowerPoint file. Every single slide is a static image, which means if your boss comes back and say, okay, let's have a title change. Let's correct some text. Let's change the visual. You simply cannot. And if you try to prompt a single change, I promise you will get a completely different presentation as an outcome. Therefore, this workflow is to avoid such problems with AI presentations. NotebookLM create great AI presentations. The problem, they are not editable. And this way, I mean, if you work in corporate, if you work in sustainability as well, it's not just your presentation, it's your boss will weigh in. Your colleagues will flag something. Procurement will have some comments. Finance will need to some slide to be adjusted. A presentation is never a single person input. It's a living document that goes back and forth between the team or between teams until everyone sign off. And that's exactly why I built this workflow. And that's why we need Gamma, because Gamma gives us something NotebookLM cannot, the ability to edit, adjust, and change. And at this point, this is very important. Here's how it works in practice. Well, you can export your Gamma presentation directly into PowerPoint, send it to the team, and I promise you, you will receive some comments. A pro tip here, when they request changes, please go back to Gamma and change there. Make it your preserved version, the master version of your work, because this is important that you have this master version always for future reference, right? So you get your feedback, you adjust in Gamma and export it again. Now, let me show you exactly how a feedback loop looks like in real life. I have got some comments here and I will walk you through some of these comments. So the first comment from my boss, is to adjust the third bullet point to ensure alignment with the rest of the bullet points, which makes sense. Product carbon footprint instead of lifecycle assessment. And simply, I can just click in, type it in, that's it. Second comment, a title change from running lifecycle assessment requires several types of operational data to running lifecycle assessment requires operational and supply chain data. Makes sense, except change it. You can just type it in. That's great. Third comment, remove the photo from the title slide. I mean, honestly speaking, I would never share the presentation as it is to stakeholders. Therefore, for sure, we can just delete this photo or just add another photo. Simple, selective, exactly the kind of change that is impossible with NotebookLM static presentations. And guess what? You can use the agent. For example, I don't like the chart. Let's make this chart simply, instead of circles, a different shape. Let's try rectangles. And simply you prompt the agent, you have the chance to keep the old structure or to apply the change. Therefore, it is very simple to use. You don't need to start over, you don't need to reprompt the whole thing. This is what the workflow looks like when every step serves the step after. So research feeds the structure, structure feeds the design, design feeds our collaboration. And collaboration is what turns a good presentation into a trustworthy presentation. If this workflow saved you time or gave you one single idea that you might use this week, hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this content to reach more sustainability professionals who needs it. And if you want to try it yourself, you know the drill. The Notion resource is linked in the description below. The prompts, the resources, the case study, I mean, this is really worth checking out. All of it ready for you to duplicate this workflow. If you are not subscribed by now, it's a good time to hit the subscribe button, because this is one video of a series of practical AI workflow built specifically for sustainability professionals. And the next one is already on the way. I want to leave you with one thought. AI did not build this presentation. You did. AI handled the heavy lifting, the research, the formatting, the design. You did not start from scratch, which is usually what is the most commonly annoying part, starting from a blank white document. But the storyline is yours and should always be yours. You are the knowledge, you have the knowledge. The audience understanding is yours. The judgment, the calls are yours. And you got those stakeholders to buy into your project. That's not something AI can replace by any time. Therefore, as I always say, learn how to use AI and learn it by doing it. Make sure that you preserve your knowledge and allow AI to multiply and amplify your know-how. That is skill worth building. How to use AI is a skill that you must acquire. And in this channel, I will work effortlessly to provide workflows that actually serve you as a sustainability professionals. See you next time.